News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. You have to be honest. Trump lost last night. Thankfully, he lost last night. He did not look presidential, and she did. That's a fact. And anybody that says anything differently, I think, is tremendously biased to a point where it hurts their view of what's really going on. But there's good news. The good news is that, well, first of all, let me give a little bit more. She literally was a tree with massive amounts of super ripe fruit hanging off it, and Trump didn't pick almost any of it. It was embarrassingly, horribly executed as far as facts. The woman is so vulnerable. It's insane. He didn't describe any of this. Like when he said something about cut and paste, dude, she literally cut and pasted Joe Biden's campaign site, and the source code matched it. He didn't say that. He made it sound like it looks like she cut and pasted, but she literally cut and pasted Biden's campaign stuff. The woman is, and the biggest complaint from independents last night and other people was actually from everybody across the board, with Reuters, with New York Times, and even CNN. They still don't know who she is. She's undefined. You know why? Not because the moderators were rigged and they were insanely rigged, but he knew that going in. He said it to us. That should be written into the plan. But they said they don't know what she stands for, who she is, and they assume overwhelmingly, to this very moment in the polls I just mentioned, which we'll get into the granulars on that in a little bit, they assumed overwhelmingly that she is a continuation of the Biden policies, Bidenomics, the disastrous 4 years we've had so far, 3.5 years. She is him, and that's a fact. We all know that. But Trump did not lay that out. He literally was not prepared. He was combative. He took all debate. ABC News let David Muir and the other lady there. They let out the debate. He ate it up like a mouse going on a dead man walking, like a mouse who's dead man walking, eating the poison. And he did the same thing with her. And all he had to do was stay calm and poised and give the facts. He didn't have to have every single thing. But my gosh, as a talk show host, whose job it is not to be 120 million% to prep for debate and go on there, go back and forth with the facts. There were so many specific individual things, and he can write them down while she's talking. He can go boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? A word, just one word, next word, one word. Boom, boom, and then he's got that. He's like, he's got a pen and a piece of paper. And he didn't rebut anything half the time, like 30. And he told at the very end of the debate, he finally said what he should have been saying every time that she said something. You've had 3.5 years to do this. Why haven't you done it since then? He literally, that was towards the very end, apparently. All I know is he didn't do that much at all. I mean, this was a slam dunk. He could have done a 60% performance last night. He didn't. He failed. And he did let her get him angry. He got angry like 2 or 3 times. So the good news is the panel of independents in CNN, the panel of independents in Reuters, and the panel of independents in New York Times all say that Trump's policies are better for business, for economy, for inflation, for jobs, and the global stage for war. So, I mean, he still wins, but he literally hurt himself last night, and she looked like a rock star when she's not one, and everybody knows it. That's truthful. So that's what it was. I want to ask you tonight, who won the debate? Who won the debate? I've got so many highlights. I got triple the amount of sound bites I normally have. I don't have to play that just yet. We'll be sprinkling them throughout the night for you. But who won the debate last night? Did it change your vote? And how much of an impact do you think this debate that just ended last night, that just happened last night, will have on the polls? Okay, 800-288-WBAP is our number. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. We'll put you right on there. We got 4 or 5 minutes left in this segment. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Who won the debate? Did it change your vote? And how much of an impact will the debate have on the polls, do you think? I think clearly she won the debate, and I don't like saying that at all. It makes me want to bleh, but it's the truth. And I did. The good news is it didn't change overwhelmingly most people's votes who were undecided, and for other people, they still walk away saying, well, saying what this one independent said on CNN. This is amazing what she said, and this is literally what the stats bared out after the debate last night in the polls from independent panelists with Fox News. Actually, I didn't include that one too. You'll hear that later. Fox News, Reuters, New York Times, and CNN. This woman sums it up. She was on the CNN panel.
Was actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
That sums it up. That literally sums up the stats and the polling I'm seeing today from all those four outlets I just told you about. Most of them leftist outlets. And what it is Orange Man bad, Orange Man nasty, Orange Man mean, Orange Man didn't lay out the case calmly, but his policies are better than Kamala's. And by the way, nobody came out of that. Most anybody in the polling that I am sharing with you, very few people came out knowing what her policies are. In fact, that's the statistic on how many people literally say, I don't know her policies to this very moment after the debate, still don't know her policies, because she doesn't want you to know what they are because of the last 4 years of what she's been doing with Joe. And it's a failure. The woman cannot get our economy up. She couldn't get her way out of a paper bag to help this economy, or to help jobs, or to help inflation. She made this inflation. She personally voted 3 times to break the tie in the Senate to push through the inflationary policies that destroyed our economy and have destroyed our country. We're still going to the store. We can't afford anything. Look at the prices. It's stunning. This is from Fox News today, and I've got other stuff I'm going to share with you. Food is up since the day Joe Biden took office, the day Trump left, and to right now. Food is up to more than 20% since the day Kamala took office. She raised food prices 20%. Housing, she raised housing 23% in the 4 years since she and Joe took over. Gas and energy prices 50% up from the day she took over with Joe. Auto insurance 55% increase since the day she took over with Joe. CNN pollster who asked who would handle the economy better before the debate, Trump was in the lead by 53 points to 37 points. After the debate, she went down and he went up. He went up 2, she went down 2 after the debate. That's the who will handle the economy better. He wins. He gained 2 points in that debate last night that was a disaster. The good news is we can still win this. The bad news is he sucked. You know what last night? Sucked, buttock last night. So that's the bad news. I want to hear from you. We have 2 lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Okay, let's take Eddie in River Oaks. You are on WBAP.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I think the whole thing was a push. Even though Trump went off the deep end there for a while, he got tempted to go and do what he normally does in the past. But right off the bat, what really ticked me off was right off the bat. When they asked Kamala about, are you better off, are your people better off now than they were 4 years ago? And she never even come close.
No, she refused to answer. She danced around it. And Trump didn't come out. And the moderators didn't do anything to hold her accountable. They fact-checked him 5 times at least. And with her, they did nothing. But guess what? That's his job. His job isn't to sit there and go, why aren't you doing your job? He knew it. He told us they wouldn't do the job. They did exactly what he said. And he wasn't prepared for it. He failed in that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And that's what ticked me off, because he should have pounced on her right off the bat on that one.
Agreed, and he didn't. And every other time he should have said 3.5 years you've had to do that. Why didn't you do it then? It was great when he said you got to march down to Joe Biden, go fly into D.C., get out of here right now and go to D.C. and tell Joe to sign what you're saying you'll sign as president because you're in office right now. That was good, but nowhere near the amount of times and the frequency that he needed to do was done. Deborah in Davenport, you're going to be coming up next. We have two lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. You're going to hear more from independents and what they say and what the pollsters about independents say. My question for you right now on the Chris Crock Show, post-debate with Trump and Kamala, who won the debate? Did it change your vote? And how much of an impact will the debate have on the polls, do you think? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
If you look at reporting from Reuters and the New York Times, they actually asked a number of undecided voters in key states, how did you view the candidates going in? How did you view them going out? Reuters, in fact, had 60%, I think it was 6 out of 10 voters, who said they moved towards Trump afterwards. And when they were asked why, they said, because Kamala Harris was evasive on her answers around the economy. And I think she flubbed a really key opportunity she had in that very first question when she was asked, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And she didn't show a single really ability to connect with voters who are struggling right now in this economy and with the price of goods and groceries and gas. And she missed a real key moment there. So
isn't that remarkable? He totally sucked. I told you the truth last night right after the debate at 10:30, and I'm telling you now, he sucked. He sucked wind. But the independent 6 out of 10 said he is who I want because of the economy. Evil, not evil, but mean, bad orange man who gets angry is better than her because she's a continuation of his policies. You'll see the same thing as we get into the granulars on the poll from CNN, from Fox, and from the New York Times. It's stunning. I was like, you have no idea. I was like, there's no way. And then you see 2 or 3 other ones. I'm like, I can't believe it. So they saw through the BS, even with his tremendous errors last night. Unbelievably poor last night for him. She did well, but she didn't give any specifics, which is why people say you're more of Joe and you won't give us the details because she doesn't even know what the details are. Okay, let's go to your call. 2 lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Who won the debate? Did it change your vote? And how much of an impact will the debate last night have on the polls, do you think? 800-288-WBAP. Let's go to Deborah in Davenport. Deborah, you're on WBAP. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I think Trump won. I think Trump realized what was going on, and he pulled back.
So
what do you think about that?
I think that's the antithesis of who he is and who anybody would want in a leader. Somebody, you get nailed from the left and from the right and from the middle, and you pull back. That's what Biden and Kamala do. They pull back. They hide.
Exactly. He's a very intelligent man.
But he didn't
pull
back.
He knew what was going on.
No,
and he pulled back.
No, I'm telling you, pulling back is what Kamala and Joe do. That's what you do when you're afraid, you don't have answers, and you're running scared. That's what she does. Pulling back is hiding. He didn't hide last night. He just went full forward like a bull in a china shop and was wrong. And sounded like an idiot, or not an idiot, but sounded like a fool, an angry fool who didn't have details. There were so many times he could have nailed her. There's so many things you and I know, and he didn't do it.
Why do you think he didn't do it?
Because I think he didn't prepare. I think I think some of the analysis I heard today is accurate. He's conceited, which is what one of his qualities, good or bad. I love the guy, and he's got my vote every time, and so far, and every time this time, he's always had my vote. But he's his own worst enemy. I've told you that for 8 years, and he still is, and he was last night.
Oh, well, I think he knew what he was doing, and he pulled back, and he's not an idiot, and he's a good man.
Well, I don't think he's an idiot. I think he's a wonderful man. I don't think he's an idiot. I think he's a wonderful man, but I think he tripped over himself foolishly, and he looked like he didn't control himself, and he couldn't control himself. He looked like he didn't have all the answers, and there's so many. But I appreciate your call. Joe, let's see, who do we got next? Joe in Colleyville. Joe, you're on WBAP. What do you got?
Chris, I agree with you most of the time. This is one time I disagree with you on a few things. We're cut from the same cloth, brother. Let me tell you, as far as presidential, I don't think either one of them won. I think it was a draw, and the reason is, as far as her looking presidential, a smug, condescending facial expressions, body language is not presidential to me, especially if you're going to be dealing with world leaders. We have hundreds of hours of video archives of how she has conducted herself.
The people haven't seen it. The ones who are undecided are all that's going to matter, and they haven't seen any of it. And it was his job to expose all this, and he didn't.
And he didn't. I agree on that. But I think he probably did not know if certain things were going to be brought up. And
oh my
he was
gosh!
Probably advised, pound on immigration, on the economy, because we all know
his job was
getting hammered out here.
My friend, you're
right.
His job is to be prepared.
There was many a time he did not respond. I agree with you. There were so many times I thought.
Listen. His job is to be ready for his job is to be ready for everything, and he wasn't ready for most of it. If he was, he didn't act like it.
I think he needs to do a little training. I think he does. He's done so many campaigns. We know what he's going to say. They knew what he was going to say. He was outnumbered. He knew it from the start. He figured it out. He said it. You understand? He said publicly.
He said it publicly beforehand that he was going to be outnumbered, and he still failed. He still failed at staving those people off. Joe, great call. Appreciate it. Let's go to. We have time for one more? No. Okay. We have one line open. We're going to go to, let's see, we got, coming up next, we got Lance, and one line open for you to chime in on as well at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. You are going to hear a Fox News, the lady, they did like a real-time tracker with up and down. You know, that's so interesting and fascinating, right? Like you had Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, and they had a little meter going, up and down like a heart monitor, slowly. And wait till you hear what she says about the good news from Trump last night. That is coming up next on the Chris Crock Show at 800-288-WBAP. One line open on News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3. I want you to make that a preset.
It gets where people are on the economy. And that was a really interesting takeaway for me last night. I didn't expect to see independents tracking so much with Republicans last night, and they did. They wanted to hear the meat on the economy. They wanted to hear the plan. And while most of the voters that we spoke with agreed stylistically with Kamala, they said that she sort of performed better than he did on substance on the issues on economy and immigration. They really resonated with him. And that was really what we were talking to a lot of the independent voters. And we saw that right there with that line.
This blew me away, you guys, because, and you're going to hear from a Fox News panelist, a young lady who's out of college, and it's incredible. Asian woman, looks like a young, very professional, successful young lady, but she's probably only a couple years older than my son, 2, 3, 4 years older than my son, and what she says is profound. It sounds like me or my parents, very conservative Trump supporters, dyed in the wool, aren't going to change, and it's unbelievable to see this sweet young lady, college educated, and everything that she says why Trump's the right choice, even though orange man mean, orange man bad, orange man Hitler. Profound. But to hear that right there, doesn't that blow you away? After the horrible debate last night for Trump, doesn't that blow you away? It makes me so freaking happy. I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Okay, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Who won the debate? Did it change your vote? And how much of an impact will this debate have on the polls, do you think? 800-288-WBAP. Let's go first to, as promised, Lance in Dallas. Lance, WBAP, hello.
Hi, Chris. Yeah, I think she did win the debate, and I don't think it I look at it from the standpoint of independence, right? I put my mind in that mindset. Mm-hmm. I think the left-leaning independents were swayed because they were looking whether she had anything going on, and I think she did look competent, right?
Yeah, so the people that are leaning towards
opportunities.
So you think the ones that were leaning towards her went with her based on that, at least for now?
I think they feel comfortable now going with her. So on the right side, Trump's pretty much said everything he always says. So if they were right-leaning, they're still independent because there's nothing new there, right?
Right.
And he just missed the opportunity to pound her on her record, on their changing her stances. He could have pounded her, and I think he could have moved that right-leaning group over to him, but I think he missed that chance.
I agree, and I appreciate your analysis, my friend. Isn't it nice to hear all these independents, including Fox News, Reuters, New York Times, and I think I'm missing one, say that the people still trust Trump on the economy and they still want to go with him with economy inflation? Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. Thank God, right? 'Cause I'm like, thank you, God. 'Cause I'm like, he was poor. I can't say the P word first, but the P poor. It was a P poor performance, right? I guess I can. I don't want to. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. We got, for the first time this hour, we have 3 lines open. Andy in Burleson. Andy, what's up, WBAP?
Hello there. Yeah, I had the P word on my agenda, but I decided to opted for tick. I was ticked off that Trump didn't take this seriously enough to study up and prepare, because he thought she was such a doofus that he could just stumble into this debate and wing it. And there was so much in the grab bag he could have pulled out and thrown at her, but he opted not to do that.
I don't think he opted not to do that. I think he didn't prepare and therefore and was overconfident, and therefore he looked like he opted not to do that. Last night was the first chance to introduce herself to 61. The numbers are insane. There were 61 million people last night. There was a 65 or actually I think it's 67 million, more than the last debate with Biden. It's just massive, unprecedented type, not unprecedented, but massive numbers last night. And she looked presidential and he didn't. Again, the saving grace is they still trust Trump on the economy and everything by a landslide. Stunning to see CNN say that before the debate, their CNN poll, Independents, they polled. Independents said before the debate that it was 53-37 before the debate, 53-37 Trump for the economy. After the debate, Trump went up 2 and she went down 2. I mean, is unreal. I think what they do is they're smart. They say she didn't do any policy. She avoided the first question about what's different than the last 4 years. She has no difference. Let's see. We got next. We have Jim in Dallas. Jim, what do you got, WBAP?
I think Trump won the debate. Maybe not visually, but let's just take one small example. One example you think that Trump shouldn't have got into. I think he did. It was masterful.
Which one?
Half of this country are pet owners. And I can tell just by looking at the memes that are coming up on social media.
Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Let me play that. Okay. So, here we go.
Okay.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
It's the funniest thing in the world. I'm laughing my butt off just listening to it. If you're watching me on the Facebook Live video, at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrock, follow me on Facebook. It's hysterical. And they're not eating the pets that we're aware of. They're actually eating, they're getting ducks and geese, and they're beheading them and such, and they are destroying that town in Springfield, Ohio. It's 20,000 illegals in a town of 60,000 people. They're destroying it, and they are crashing autos everywhere. So bad that the governor DeWine, who's a moderate Republican and not a big Trump fan, not even a Trump fan at all, I don't know for sure, but he's sending the state police now to help because they're overwhelmed.
Well, see, if Trump hadn't made that comment, nothing would happen. So he brought it to national attention, and it's backfired. It's blown up. At first, it seemed like a bad idea to some people. But, the thing is, you can look at social media. The memes are all over the place.
Oh, I know. Trump is rescuing our pets. He's scooping up the kittens and running as the illegals that Kamala and Joe brought in are chasing. They're hungry. They want to eat our pets. It's funny. But the fact is, people know it's not true. But there are many reports, including from people and folks on the ground, that they are eating animals. They're just not eating pets. And I mentioned last night a Daily Mail column, or not column, but a story that there's 2 different instances of Joe and Kamala's illegals. I'll say she wants to take over the country now. kidnapping a 105-year legacy in, I think it's Schenectady, New York, or up to upstate New York. I forget what, Syracuse, New York. Faye, the goose, she is part of a lineage of 105 years old, generation after generation of a goose family, and they jumped a fence over at night, snuck in there, and they cut Faye's head off, and they ate her, and they also stole the ducklings or the goslings. So the illegals are doing that. And there was another story that I shared with you last night that was from a separate report in a separate state where illegals are eating ducks and geese. So it is happening, and it's happening not just in New York upstate in Syracuse, I believe, but it's also happening in other states. So it is happening, but the pets not so much, from what we understand. So I think it made him look bad. It makes me laugh. I don't think it cost him any votes. It's hysterical, and it's great. Just watching Kamala's face when he was talking about that was just priceless. See, when I'm laughing out loud and having fun with this with you, people laugh. That's who he is. They're used to it. It's they know he's not right, but it's hysterical. But they're thinking about it. I mean, in a way, it's funny and it worked, but it didn't work. So anyway, who won the debate? Did it change your vote? How much of an impact will the debate have on these polls? Do you think? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. You will hear the back-to-back-to-back ABC News not fact-checking Kamala. And then we'll play for you a little later the ABC News fact-checking Trump 5 times and interrupting him and trying to stop him because they cannot stand him. You know what it was? The media, one of my buddies wrote a column today about this. The media literally is so angry at CNN for doing a fair and good debate last time, they wanted to destroy him. That's what they were determined to do for their friends. And that's what ABC News did last night to the man they hate and seek to destroy and put in jail. Subjugate him. All right, that's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
A detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing. What did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
All lies. Pretty much everybody watching it believes that doesn't believe it, but there it is. And ABC News didn't stop her once. All lies, and they knew it, but they're like, oh yeah, get her. So there you go. It was rigged. And he said it would be rigged, so he should have been better prepared. How do you think Trump did? Who won the debate, I should say, last night? Who won the debate? Did it change your vote? And how much of an impact will the debate have on the polls, do you think? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Oh, let's see here, y'all. Let's go first to Chris in Glen Rose. Chris, welcome to WBAP.
Yes, thank you.
I can't hear you. You sound like a small little mouse talking.
Can you hear me now?
Much better, yeah.
Oh, okay. Trump's got a whole lot on his mind. I mean, he's could go to jail. He's got several lawsuits against him. He's getting a little older. Okay, he travels all the time. He's working all the time. I mean, it's like this. Anybody else get up there? Everybody just needs to think about it just for a second. Put yourself in his shoes. And I mean, with everything that's on his back right now, I mean, yeah, he stumbled a few times. Yeah, he sure did. But all in all, we don't know what else is up his sleeve. He may have done that on purpose to cross him up.
I sure don't think so. Yet. Last night was a disaster for him, and it would have been so easy if he would have done his homework and been poised and not let her get to him. She set all these traps, and he took the bait on every one of them. So did ABC News, and he took the bait. So.
Yeah, that's right. They took the bait. So maybe he was setting them up.
No, he took the bait from all of them.
I understand, but look at all the people saying, okay, yeah, well, the people saying, hey, this guy, he's got all these things on him, and y'all want to do him this way? I mean, you know, he's looking at the sympathetic vote for him. Think about that.
I think he didn't look presidential, and I think she did. And I think that what matters is your presentation almost as much as your, nowadays, almost as much as the policy. And that's just how it is. And I think he failed at that miserably for what he could have done. It could have been so easy. One line open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Let's go to Jose in San Antonio. Thanks for listening to WBAP, Jose.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Just fine, thank you. Yeah, I think Trump won the debate, but like you say, I agree with you that he had a lot of flaws. As I said, like when he started repeating himself, and I believe that he got nervous or surprised how Kamala, she knew all the answers right away. I mean, I was surprised too. To me, it was like this was set up or something, And then when they confronted Trump with all this fact check,
it was unbelievable.
He got intimidated. Yeah, he got nervous, intimidated, and surprised. That's one of the three things that I think. Because I heard all his rallies, and I know already what he's going to say. And the last line, we're going to make America great, all this blah blah blah. And he had a lot of ammunition that he did not use.
Correct.
And yeah,
correct.
And like you said, he's his own worst enemy, and he took the bait.
He could have destroyed her last night and finished her candidacy.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody and their brother and mother and everybody in the left media all said it was a much more important night for her than it was for him. And on that regard, she passed. She was bad on policy, horrible on policy, very little of anything, and effusive with answers. But she stylistically and overall, she kicked his butt. I'm glad that you're honest about it. We have to be honest about it. Great call today, so Jose. Look forward to your next one. Okay, let's go to KC in Louisville. KC, WBAP.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
Kamala didn't win, but Trump certainly tried to lose the thing. And he had the opportunity on the very first question to shut the door and drop the mic. The first question was, are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? And as he just answered the question, the only people in this country who are better off are the people who showed up here illegally during their administration.
Yes.
Everybody else has less money. They're less safe because of the policies, and that's period.
That's
Next
it.
Question.
And the last day of my candidacy, inflation was 1.4%. Now on this one today, it's still more than double what it is, and they brought it up to 9.1 2 years into their administration, and they're crowing that it's still more than double mine. Gas prices were $2.30 something, I think it was, and now they're $1 more per gallon, and they've been high. Everything across the board, prices for everything, gas, food, groceries, insurance across the board, they've raised prices. Kamala put a tax on you of 22%. There's an inflation calculator, by the way, that the Heritage Foundation did, and I tweeted it out on my Twitter feed at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK, in the middle of the day today. And I have $1,800 a month, roughly, is what I'm paying from Kamala and Joe Biden's inflation. $1,800 a month. That's $21,000 a year, roughly.
And yeah, there was one other observation I made last night. I told my wife, Kamala's right ear, her hair didn't move. You couldn't see her right ear the entire debate. And I said right off from the get-go, that hair's not moving. She's got a bug in her ear.
Huh. I don't know.
Go back and look at that.
Okay, I will, but I don't know about that, my friend. Appreciate your call. There's a lot of mystery tomorrow that was in last night, including what did Trump say? I don't know if you caught this. It sounded like he said, I'll say it, she puts out. And we're going to talk about that later. We'll replay it. It's like the Zapruder film. We'll play it over and over again, and you can be the judge. I am stunned that hasn't been making the rounds more. I'll play that for you later. But coming up next, we're going to take your call. We got Christine in Texarkana. We got Paul and Hazel. We got three lines open at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. A sweet young lady who is a college graduate just starting out in the workforce in her first year or two or so stunned me when she said what she said about Trump last night, and it was good news for you and me. I'll play that for you coming up next. Also, I'll play Trump being fact-checked 5 times when she wasn't fact-checked once on the debate. Plus your call at 800-288-WBAP, on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.